So this is what we're starting at. The master volume's way down, but it's still loud as hell in that room. It's about 2. We're running at 50 watts. Volume is at half. This was preamp gain. Then the bass is up, is rolled back a little bit. It's at about 10 o'clock. Treble's at about, or middle is at about, we're gonna push it to 3, and treble's at 2. Presence is straight up. So go ahead and play a little bit. So what does that tell you?
That E string, it's a super round sound. It's got lots of thump.
By the way, we're playing through just a standard 1960A, 4 greenbacks. I'm only miking one speaker. I'm using 2 different mics. I've got a 414 on there and a Sennheiser 906 or 609, the little Pink Floydy looking mic.
Harmonics.
Yeah, and there's no effects. We're running through Hardy M1 preamp. You can sort of see it right here. These are the preamps that we're using. I've got it loud enough to where it's sort of driving that 414 a little bit, which I like. It's pushing up that preamp a little bit into sag, but I don't think it's coloring the sound in terms of like gain, but it is getting a little bit more sag in there from that preamp.
I like the sag.
Yeah.
Like it's not muddy. It's still punchy, but it's round.
Yeah. What I always liked about it when I played with it is that there is a center core of twang to it, even as gnarly as you want to get with it. So let's change the setting. Let's do something different with it.
Let's turn that bass up a little bit.
Okay.
And take the mids down a bit. Get that presence up a little bit.
What is that playing? Oh, that's cool. I was going to say, if it's somebody else's riff, I have to go, fair use, YouTube, fair use.
All stuff I'm making up.
Oh, cool. Very nice. It had sort of a Nuno Betancourt vibe to it.
I never listened to much new. It's cool because there's not a ton of gain, but there's a ton of sustain and harmonics. And with that. The low end is definitely rounder than a Marshall because they can get kind of booty.
And I would gig with this amp, honest to God, if two factors. One, at my age, I'm trying to not play at 120 decibels. I really am just trying not to do that. And the other, also age-related, is it weighs 84 pounds or some crap.
Right.
It's got, I mean, the transformer on this side right here is it's just a mammoth thing. And then so it's kind of out of balance because the other side is not as heavy. And so it's this weird kind of thing. Now, I do have a roadie in the band that I'm playing, but I wouldn't, and he's in his 30s, and I would not inflict this on him. But like I said, I've played Cat's Cradle with it. I've played Motorco with it. I've played the Black Cat in DC with it.
Listen to that.
And it cleans up really nice.
It cleans up better than a JMP, and you got about JMP level gain there, like a master volume.
Right, that's about where it sits. And then once we start dialing up, it's gonna get a little nuttier. So you want to add a little more gain to this and see where we get. Maybe play some solo-y type stuff to it. I mean, that right there. In truth, when I played, I usually played my gain about right here, and just use pedals to push, which you can do. We'll look at that pedal real quick. So what is that? What is that pedal? Is that a
So that's a Alexander Outrun Pink.
Oh, right.
Which is a local builder, and that's
yeah, I know him. What's the guy's name again?
That's Matthew Farrow.
Matthew, right.
And that's,
Great guy.
That's sort of like the stripped down version, but basically it's like a Marshall Shredmaster.
Cool.
Which, don't let the name fool you. It's not like a metal zone.
Right.
I like this pedal.
On this thing, you probably won't be able to hear just through the camera thing. I'm recording this in Pro Tools and gonna sync it. So you won't probably hear the thump through the camera, but once I get this synced into some sort of video editing software, you should be able to hear this thump pretty good, pretty well on this thing, because it is really thumping in this room.
So I mean, even with that gain down like that, because the cleanup's so good, it's still sustaining. That's a DiMarzio injector, so not a ton of gain. This is like
that last little arpeggio run you did, I'm going to be slowing that down and learning. Oh yeah, I see it now.
Here's some of
Now, so let's kind of go the other direction now. Let's go kind of a little bit more bonky with the gain.
Yeah, crank it up.
What would you want to do with the tone control?
Let's just try them in the middle and see what happens.
Okay, all right. No, I'm not giving you everything.
I like that.
I'm not giving you everything yet.
Lower that bass. taste just a.
Same for that. Sorry. And even with all that gain, you can hear the notes. Why don't we scoop it?
Yeah, just a little bit.
That's pure gnarl.
Yeah.
That's pure gnarl.
That would be a cool live sound, right? That's
the color drive.
Yeah, color sound
What I'm really doing here is I'm filming you play, and then I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna steal all your licks.
Okay.
I'm gonna just short, slow mo. All right, so let's go completely nuts. Let's go back to Hundy.
fuzzy, but still clear. Might give it a little more. The controls make a big difference.
Yeah, they do. They actually work, which is nice. And we're completely no pedals involved.
No pedals.
All right, so
Sounds cool.
yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you this my sound the way I used to sound in 1979.
Okay.
Which is I self-described one time as a I think that's just my presence control.
Yeah.
As a frustrated teenager playing through. So this brittle, ice picky hard rock sound. Play some shreddy stuff, you know, just some.
I like that a lot right there.
That was crazy, wasn't it? Where it is right
Sound.
Only time I've ever seen Yngwie, he was playing through, but get this, he was playing through Fenders.
Really?
Yeah, it was at the 40th anniversary of the Stratocaster in this theater in Fullerton, California.
Really?
And it was Buddy Guy, Robin Ford, Jerry Donahue, all doing rather straight up Fender kind of stuff, and then Yngwie coming on at the end. And I guess because it was a Fender event, he was forced to play Fender amps instead of his Marshalls. I don't remember whether they sounded particularly good or bad. They were whatever Fender had in 1994 that was equivalent to a big 100-watt Marshall. Yeah. It was just some big thing. I remember it was a very ugly amp. It was not a pretty.
Sonic.
Could have been.
But those are pretty good though.
Yeah, I don't remember whether it sounded good or bad. It was just.
Fender had I don't remember what it was called, but they had some tube head, like in the late 80s, like a lot of the shrapnel guys used.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like Greg Howe, because he had that.
It had an odd shape to it and light colored Tolex. That's all I remember. It didn't. It kind of went back like this. It was taller. But anyway, Yngwie for some reason decided it was not. He was not going to come out and shred everybody. He was doing this hair metal thing.
Really?
Yeah, and he had a singer and the whole thing, and it was just like hair metal, pop metal songs. I mean, when he took solos, they were clearly Yngwie, but I've never seen a room clear out as fast. Everybody just got up because it was all music store owners, right? Yeah. Who are blues guys, and they as soon as they heard, saw the smoke machines in the hair and all the spandex, they were out.
Sad thing about that is he's a great blues player.
Yeah, I bet. You don't know Mike Troy, do you? Stupid lives here. I think he lives here in Chapel Hill. He used to play with Yngwie. Yeah, he's just a keyboard player.
His old keyboard player used to live like in Rocky Mount or something.
Yeah. All right, let's try something different. Let's try something wilder. Yeah, cool. So let's go completely different. I'm gonna put this in standby for a second, and we're gonna go over to the other input, and we're gonna run that and see how we like this. So we're gonna go back in here. So this is as gainy as this side gets. it's basically got the same tone curve as we had before, but I'm gonna pull a little of this bass to add a little bit of presence. So I'm told this is more akin to like a bassman kind of sound. I have played. You can play bass through this. I have played bass through this, and not get too Jack Brucey, too farty. But this is obviously it's a great pedal platform. So if you want to run through your pedals, your overdrive pedals, and see how that works. Go back. That is hot. That thing is hot as hell.
Oh,
that pilot, man, burned.
That ain't an LED.
I know it. That thing burned the crap out of me. Holy crap. All right, so let's go into this. As it's falling away. Now what I want to do, I want to go way the opposite way. We're back in the high input, and I want to go way the opposite way. That's a little splodgy in the mids there.
A little bit, but I think it'd be good live because you could play it. It's a little clearer pedal, but sometimes it could be hard to get all the notes out. Use a little more gain for that, but that's pretty clear. Gain out of the amp for that.
We're about 11 o'clock. We've gone all the way back up to just full gain with a little bit of treble, a little bit of mid boost, a little bass cut, a little tiny bit of presence. So
Cleans up. And that's all the gain you need right there. I just use pedals so that you have
have you ever used like a gain pedal in the opposite direction where you use it to cut?
Yeah, I can do that with this pedal, but I don't have it plugged in.
That's cool.
Yeah.
No, I'm just purely asking, how does that work for you? Because I've never been able to make it work right for me live. It just always seems to be kind of a hit or miss thing.
An EQ pedal works best.
Really?
But the one I have is kind of noisy, but I've used an EQ pedal for it. And then you can add a little whatever gets taken away. Because it's kind of like when you turn your volume down on some guitars,
sure.
how they get kind of muffled. I can use like a little less distortion, but the EQ and everything's cool. That would probably be my rhythm sound right about there. Yeah,
I've got the bass at about 10 o'clock, a little less than 10 o'clock actually, about 9:30, and it's still moving some serious air there. All right.
That's just a little bit of drive.
Yeah.
It's just great lead sound.
So, what do you think?
I think it's great.
Yeah.
Sounds awesome. Definitely usable, lots of sounds, but also like easy to dial in the sound that you need.
So, like I told you, it's been sitting on the floor in my home studio, or kind of tucked away. It's some of the close-up shots that I'm going to do later of it. You can see it's not mint.
Yeah.
It's got little flecks of stuff on there that I think is some sort of spider detritus. I have a case for it, but it's still, a cutter for it, but it's 26 years old, 25 years old or so. And like I said, I think I either got it in 99 or 2000, somewhere in that neighborhood, right about the same time that Steve Carr opened his shop. And I also want to say, this is not a car amp. No. I just stuck that on. This is a Sovtek. And then I made this little thing years ago when I did it. I designed it and made this little black sticker got it from some sticker company. And it was like they give you 2 stickers for like $5 or something. And I covered up the Sovtek stuff there. And the Sovtek logo that was on there was one of those, it wasn't one of these plastic molded things. It was like, which are cool. It was this ugly industrial looking metal thing that the paint just peeled off of it within a year. And so I put this car on there just because it looks good. And probably Steve does not make high gain large amp heads. He did one called El Moto that was out in the early, or like 2002 or 3, which was an astonishing amp. But that's not his forte. That's not where he rolls. I think he lets Greg Germino do that. And other people, there's plenty of people doing Marshall-y kind of things out there. His stuff is the small box, low wattage amps, and he does it great. But I stuck that on there just as a conversation starter. People go, I've never seen that car before. It's like, because it's not one. And that's because I would take it out and play gigs with it, and people go, wow, that's really cool. Isn't that made in Pittsburgh? I was like, well, no, it was made in St. Petersburg or Moscow. But it does have Steve's stamp in it. And like I said, the caps, he did a cleanup job. And then Tim Ristow is the one who turned it from a bass head into a guitar head. And then recently I just got it serviced by Andrew McLean, who lives here in Pittsburgh. And I meant to get up real early this morning, come over here and just put it through its paces before, because I wanted to make sure it worked. Because I got it back from Andrew the other day and I was like, I better check. But I just could not get my butt out of bed. And so I got here about 10 minutes before you did and got it all set up. And I'm super pleased with how it sounds. I think I am going to have to replace those input jacks. They're cheap Soviet crap, plasticky stuff, and get some,
A lot of the Marshalls had those though too.
I know, yeah, lots of amps do, and it's really a shame. You spend all this money on an amp and then they cheap out on that stuff.
Yeah.
The switches over there on the other side, I don't think those are original. They might be. But yeah, I think I'm going to take you up on that LED light because I just got burned by that thing. But this is never leaving this building. If you want to play through this amp, and I'm talking to the viewers of this, you must come to Hondo Creek and book a session. And I use this. I can tell you one funny story about this amp. I had this. One of the very first bands I recorded here was a metal band, and they were like classic metal. They were kind of doing they sounded a little more new wave of British heavy metal, but they were huge Kiss fans too, and even more huge Iron Maiden fans. And so there was a bit of both of those in there, if you can imagine that. And a really good band, 2 couples, husband and wife, of the husband on drums, the wife on vocals, and then a younger couple, the wife on bass and the guitar player the husband on guitar. And he had just sort of come over from a classical background. This was his first foray into playing live electric rock guitar, and he was excellent. He was absolutely he figured out the stuff pretty quickly. But he's not a gearhead, and he went into a local music store that has since shut down. You can probably guess what I'm talking about. And he was looking for an amp, and the guy that was there didn't have anything for metal. But he goes, this Fender Twin would be perfect for metal. And he sells him a Fender Twin, and he gets in there and he starts, he's got pedals all in front of it. So you're really just, a Fender Twin are great for a lot of things, but they're basically just big, loud PAs. They're just loud things. And so his pedal tone was okay, but I said, let's do something different. So I split a signal and just recorded them direct, and then I reamped their whole record to this thing. And they were astonished how good it sounded. And it didn't sound as good, this was 7 years ago, it didn't sound as good 7 years ago as it does now. because it's been tweaked out and the tubes are sounding better. But it still sounded really good, and it really worked for that classic metal thing. But I was in and am still in power pop bands, jangly pop stuff, and I've used this thing, and it works great for that too. When you clean it, dial it down. I mean, even though my stuff is pretty, Peter Buck, Johnny Marr, Roger McGuinn kind of guitar, and a lot of my stuff also takes cues from classic hard rock stuff, Zeppelin and things like that, and that works really good for that. And I do take the odd, skronky solo, and whatnot, and it's worked really great for that. But like I said, I'm never taking it out again because it's too damn heavy.
Too heavy. It's got some good sounds though.
Yeah, and we're playing through a Marshall 412 with greenbacks, a 1960A, and it's got a couple of mics on it, and what you're hearing is no compression, no EQ, other than the